My name is Aruna Sharma. I am an immigrant mother living in Acton, Massachusetts since 1998. America being a vibrant, welcoming, melting pot of nationals, cultural and social diversity, I find myself in a unique position to contribute here. As all immigrants come to America with the dream of excelling themselves either in education or business or simply for their own personal life, immigrant mothers like me has some conflicting issues while raising our children. And that is the focus of my project. So my project, I started initially with the community that I lived in. So we can go back to the community and see. I live in Acton, Massachusetts, which is 30 miles northwest of Boston. The land area of Acton is 20 square miles, surrounded by 7 other similar type of communities. I kind of relate it to the Snow White and 7 Dwarfs, making out Acton as a Snow White, desirable to live for the raising of the children. The population of Acton is 22,000, out of which 14.3% are foreign-born. Like I said, the approval rate of raising children in Acton is 98%, and 49% of the people there are graduate professionals with lower to upper middle class income level. So the life in Acton from outside seems fabulous, as good as it gets. Now, what is the problem? It's a good question. So we can go back to the immigrant mothers and parenting first. Parenting itself in modern society is becoming more of a challenge than a pleasure, starting from demanding economic issues to raise children, from confusing on cultural values, issues on having to push our children to do well just for the survival. So it has becoming a very big issue. In Acton, Massachusetts, because of the economic well-being, a lot of parents, even if they are professionals like me, they decide to stay home for the well-being of their children and well-being of their family, just to find out after 10, 12 years, they're out of workforce. And it's very hard to go back to work because of the rusting of their abilities or the age factor and whatnot. So that is general issues right there. Besides that, if we think about the raising issues of mental health problem in America, as you can see, there are, only in Massachusetts, there are 25% of adolescents goes through the depressive symptoms. And in USA, there's 28%. The depressive episode is 8%, and suicidal episode is 13%. There are postpartum depression among mothers. That goes sometimes in a deeper level, and they go into the isolation. So considering those issues, do you think Acton alone is isolated from that issues? What about immigrant mothers? So, of course, there is a problem. Oh, I'm sorry. I still need to tell you why I decided to use this project. So there is a problem which, in a surface, it's hard to see. The reason I got exposed to this is because, as I said, I decided to stay home, even if I was an engineer as my profession, because I valued being there for my son. And also coming from different cultural background, I thought raising child should not be a problem because we have enough money, and I am, happy to be, just I was happy to be able to stay and all that. But as I became a mother, the whole picture of being in America as a student and a professional changed drastically. I wanted to do the best for my son. So I wanted to integrate to the society. I wanted to make Acton as my community. So I worked very hard, and I tried to reach out to the local organization called First Connection to learn more and to do the best for my son. And they are the one who provided support services to the new mothers with children up to the age 5. So I went there for the play group, and I wanted to learn about all other issues that came. When I went there, what I found is this Acton had a very heavily white majority population, and those services mostly focused on those populations which are non-immigrants. Although there were immigrant mothers like me from India, Spain, and all other places, Russia, they were there, but they were very quiet, and they were totally confused about whether to feed their children rice, julan, or pasta, So a small thing like that, what to feed to your children, to how to discipline them, and what to expect them, became such a huge issue that I saw that there was a huge need for cultural parenting for those who are kind of confused. I call it cultural parenting and confusion in the beginning, and it didn't sound that great, so it became cultural parenting only. So with the help of and encouragement of First Connection, I started a support group, and that became very, very popular and successful, and it ran for 6 years. In the meantime, my son was growing, and it was an organization for up to the age 5, and I was back and forth to my country, Nepal, where I'm from, and so I thought I want to go back to workforce now because my son is starting the school, and I'm itching to get out and be in a in an intellectual, professional world, and the more I started to think about it, the more it became harder, and it was my harsh reality that I never felt existed in my life, because when I was young, once upon a time, I was on top of the, technical world, and company would call me and ask me how much money. I could negotiate my salary at that point. But now, after so many years staying home and raising my child, nobody wants me anymore. And all my work that I've done to my child was nothing, considered nothing, because my husband was the breadwinner, and I'm just there vacationing and having fun with my child. And so that was like really, really shocking experience for me. So luckily, I had a wonderful friend, Dr. Catherine, Riley, and when I talk about what I'm going through, she's like, you should go to Karsi. That's the place you want to be. You have done this, support group, and through that play date of my child, talking about the healthy food and habit, I actually got to know about Dr. Michael Schwack, who had done some work on Stonyfield Farm yogurt, organic yogurt, and I was into so much in organic, and I have read his article, I've seen, and I was very impressed and inspired by his work. So I thought, yes, I want to go. And then I talked to UC, and Robin and UC and Sanjeev. So that's how I started to think of my project in a very serious way. So through my schooling at Karsi, through this project, I started looking at this issue in a more formal and structural way. And with help of Jolan, I tried to define my problem statement, conducted focus group, key informant interviews, and all this theoretical knowledge that I had. So the problem I defined was that immigrant mothers in Acton, Massachusetts, who has moved within 5 years lack support group for cultural parenting, emergency childcare need, and they need training for future employment possibilities. So with that problem in my mind, I started thinking about long-term outcome, intermediate outcome, and short-term outcome, which is long-term outcome would be a healthy community without mental health issues, and then the intermediate would be the access to the services, and short-term outcome would be support group and emergency child capacity building. Unfortunately, the support group that I started stopped because of the lack of funding. So what I did is I decided to work on my own, and instead of the support group, I started doing kind of life coaching, informal discussions, and monthly seminar in a public libraries. So this is the kind of invitation for the monthly seminar that I have done and I'm planning to do in a monthly basis, where people could come and discuss about their parenting issues. Like one of our Spanish friend has, is it okay to use piñata for the birthday party for the children, or would it be considered as a promoting violence? I'm like, hello, kids need to be kids and enjoy piñata. It's not a violence at all. So building confidence like that for the values they have. So for emergency childcare, I try to make a friendship and then get some help, family help. And for training, I try to give the information about what's available out there, like Minuteman Tech, Unemployment Center, universities like Hershey. So, but the problem is that there's still a challenge for parents to come in because there's no one fixed facility, and people don't have time, resources. They have kids and everything. So my dream, future plan, and my dream is to have a SIM center, Support for Immigrant Mothers Center, and which is kind of pretty ambitious dream. It requires more research, investment, legal advisor, and financial advice. I'm not very good at. So my point here is, although Acton seems to be a very vibrant, good community, there still is a problem that we don't see. So instead of escalating that problem and being in a position where we get overwhelmed, I think prevention is better, and to avoid problems, and you'll never be the one who overcome them. That's my philosophy. Now, I would like to thank my mother, my family members and friends, First Connection, and especially UC, Michael Swat, Robin, Jolan, my professors, Sanjeevji, who has tremendous patience with me. And with that, I thank you, all of you, for your time, interest, and support. Any question?